Hello, everyone. So, everyone I know in the retail industry seems to be obsessed about customer acquisition. I mean, I don't know if it's only me, but every time I talk to CMOs, to retail executives, even to founders' friends, they always measure success in terms of new customers that they acquire month over month. But of course, this makes sense if we think that over the last decades, we poured billions in ads, influencer, paid media, retargeting, all with the goal of bringing new eyeballs to the product and obviously securing that first initial transaction. But my question is, what happens after that first transaction? Well, I tell you what happens. In the great majority of cases, that first-time shopper disappears into the void. So this is a very interesting fact. It's impossible to find accurate number, but what we know for sure is that roughly 60 to 70% of first-time shoppers never buy from that brand again after that first purchase. So this, of course, is something that has been well known in the industry, but the problem has been a little bit overlooked in the last years. Why so? Well, it's very easy to explain. Because paid media historically has been very cheap, and conversion was very, very good. So the typical growth marketing playbook has been looking like this. Okay, we invest a big chunk of money in paid media, we monitor click, analyze conversion, and we show a very nice upward trending chart in our next board meeting. I mean, it was so easy and so cheap to acquire new customers every month that nobody has really been worrying about, okay, but what will happen when this new acquisition rate will slow down, or when acquiring these customers will get more and more expensive? Well, that's exactly what is happening right now. So what is happening right now is that in the last 5 years, customer acquisition cost has been growing incredibly. As you see in this slide, we are talking about 60%, for some categories, even 70%, only in the last 5 years. So it's getting more expensive than ever to bring new eyeballs to the product and attract new customers. From the customer perspective, I mean, think about it. We are so bombed all time with dopamine addictive contents across every possible platform. I mean, think about it. At least my attention span is evaporating. I don't know if you feel the same, but it's so difficult to actually even decide what we want to buy. And for this reason, competition is fierce. So at the same time, another very interesting fact is that as consumers, we have never been more picky. Why? Obviously, because we have so many options available, so we have a lot of choice. We can actually, afford to try so many different brands for the same product and see what we like the most. So we are also, becoming more and more focused on the experience that the brand gives us. So 79% of consumers report, for example, that they wouldn't buy again from a brand that doesn't provide a very good post-purchase experience. So translating in other words, it means that delivering a good quality product or service is not enough to win over customer loyalty. There is something more that we have to do. A brand has to invest in giving memorable experiences. So what is happening right now is that customer acquisition cost is going high, and at the same time, retention is dropping. And it's becoming more and more difficult to retain customers. Notwithstanding these two important pieces of data, still on average, companies are investing 85% of their available marketing budget on new customer acquisition, and only 15% on actually retaining that customers and engaging them in the post-purchase. So in other words, to make a real-life comparison, we literally build an industry that is obsessing over the first date and completely forgetting about the relationship. So now, in these conditions, with customer acquisition costs at an all-time high, and customer attention being so difficult to win, is focusing only on customer acquisition the right playbook for brands that want to be successful in the long term? My humble opinion is no. So what I'm advocating for is actually a shift from this focus on acquisition to a focus on customer retention. What does it mean, focusing on customer retention? Is stop trying to convince customers to buy, but actually trying to convince customers to stay. So building a real connection between the consumer and the brand. And in these optics, when we are focusing a little bit more on retaining that customers, on making sure that we listen to what they like and what they don't, what they need, why they decided to come to the brand in the first place, there is a new metric that is becoming more and more important, which is customer lifetime value. So customer lifetime value is very different from customer acquisition costs because it's actually something that can grow over time. So it's something that increases over and over based on our relationship with the customer and how much we invest in it. So the focus on customer lifetime value is something that might sound, quite new for many brands, but actually some of the most famous and successful global brands have been, known this for a while. I give you some examples. Which apps you use more often? Think of, some brands' apps that you consistently return to. Like one of my favorite apps is Nike Running. So it's just because I like working out and I feel they provide an amazing community for me to connect with people that have my same passions. So this is a very forward-thinking way of thinking about the relationship of the brand with its community. So Nike started as a shoe brand, okay? And these people, the users, us, the users of the Nike running app, we don't open the app every time that we want to buy a new pair of shoes. That's obviously not happening as often as our daily usage. But what Nike was not only able to understand, but able to put into practice is the fact that people that like their brand are actually people that have something in common. And that is a passion. And so they provided an infrastructure for their community to engage safely, to connect with each other, to connect authentically with the brand. And this is paying off incredibly. The same, for example, is Starbucks. Starbucks is a brand that invested millions in building an incredible loyalty app. I mean, guys, think about it. How many coffee brands invested millions of dollars in building an app? Like, it's not so intuitive. But the result of that is that they transformed something simple and common as walking and getting your morning coffee. I mean, as an Italian, it's probably the most common thing that we do, into a daily ritual, something that we want to track, something that we want to share with friends. And this is genius because it generated a loyalty that is unprecedented in any other coffee brand. So another example that I love, because I worked on this myself, is what Ulta Beauty did. They are, for those of you who are not familiar with them, they are a very big beauty franchisor, the biggest one in the US. And they understood that all the people that walk in their shops or go on their website and buy a lipstick, they also have something in common. And in most cases, is a passion for the beauty industry, for makeup, for learning about everything related to these topics. So they created a community space inside their apps or websites for all their consumers to connect with each other, to share advice, tips on how to use different products. This is not something where, let's say, influencers are just posting because they are paying to promote the product. This is a very safe and authentic space for peer-to-peer customer engagement. And this, so far, has delivered incredible results. Users that join the community tend to buy much more often than users who don't, and their basket value is double than it used to be before. So it means that by connecting with them, they are actually increasing customer lifetime value, but also brand revenues. So I believe that this is the playbook for really forward-thinking marketing brands. Engage, understand, monetize. What does it mean in practice? Every brand should invest in giving to their consumers a platform to connect not only with the brand, but also with each other. To do that safely, to do that on channels that the brand owns. Why? Because by doing this, the brand can really understand what the consumers want, what matters to them, can analyze every single piece of first-party data, and can translate this data into actionable, hyper-personalized campaign and new ways to grow revenues and to grow the value of the relationship with the customers. So I believe that every successful brand, sooner or later, should work and look more into this direction. And let's be honest, we are in the middle of the AI revolution, right? And this has changed so much how we live our everyday life. I think it brought many incredible things, but there are also some negative effects. One, above all, is that we are literally flooded with fake content. I don't know you, but when I use a social network, I don't even recognize anymore what's real, what's fake. And the side effect of that is that people are craving for authenticity. Social media are, at this point, entertainment platforms. They are full of any possible contents, advertising, spam, but they no longer are the place where people go to talk to each other, to really feel part of a community. So I believe that this, for brands, is an amazing opportunity, because brands can really take this as a way to fill this authenticity gap by actually providing the community to their consumers to talk about things that matter to them. Think about it. Every brand represents a set of beliefs. Every brand represents sometimes passions, sometimes interest, and I really believe that the brands will stop chasing the clicks and actually start chasing connections, are the brands that will win in the long run. Because if there is something that I learned in my career so far, is that investing on your customer relationship is always a positive ROI. Thank you.